Zerb. Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Holler Podcast, episode 10. And look, Steven, that was quick.
Bang.
Look, I didn't even need to do a real introduction. I was going to say I was taking over the podcast from Steven, but he fixed shit so quick it didn't matter. So, Steven, do you want to take it away from the normal?
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you all for being ready to step in, just in case. I'd let Richard and Carl know that I might have to fix some things real quick once we went live, but...
You just pressed the fix shit button.
I pressed the fix button and it finally listened to me for once. But welcome into the Holler Podcast, episode 10 of season 2. Last week I'm not even going to get into that. My name is Stephen Borbell, the driver of the number 2 Ford Mustang Dark Horse.
You haven't even done
for Next Level Motorsports.
Let's talk about last week.
Yeah, man, I just wanted to jump right into it. And I'm joined by 2 of my friends, Richard and Carl. Carl, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, guys. This is Carl Pooler, driver of the 71 Limitless Esports Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. And on the other side of the screen there, you have there Richard Wilsifer, who started us off. Richard, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Richard Wilsifer, driver of the number 56 Stins-built Camaro ZL1 for Limitless Esports. It's been a good night. I've had a rough night of gaming. Now I'm ready to have some good fun with my 2 great friends here on the Holler Podcast that we love doing every Thursday. Not just for us, but for you guys in the league as well.
Exactly, yes. Thank y'all for joining again, as y'all always do every week. I know it's...
We're forced to be here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're getting paid to be here, buddy.
That big old 0.00 check.
Oh, man. If I were getting paid to be here, there'd be a way bigger smile on my face.
I swear, Adam better actually send me a check with $0.00 on it.
One day,
and he was still losing money on the postage. Come on.
And to pay those bills, we have some sponsors we want to thank real quick. Obviously, we have Butt Kicker, the leader in haptics, as our title sponsor. Sundance Pizza, the best pizza in the Southwest. I'd argue in the United States. I don't think that's an official slogan, but Sundance Pizza in Wickenburg, Arizona. Idealease and Ascendance Trucks, thank you all for all you do and contribute to our league to get us running. And yeah, so last week, just jump right into it. How was y'all's day other than the bad gaming? Don't even want to talk about it. All right. So last week,
pretty good day. It wasn't a bad day. Woke up, went to work, came home, and just a normal day. Nothing bad, just till the gaming started, and that's when things went downhill. And then trying to get the practice session up for y'all tonight, and I just butchered the first one, so that was awesome.
Yeah,
Fired.
You know how hard it is.
Adam threw me like a quick, hey, you taking care of practice tonight? I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to. I'm in the middle of a game right now, but let me hit an alt tab and try to take care of shit as I'm playing Valorant also. I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Fired. Richard's fired.
I know, I'm fired from ever doing a session again.
And I think the only person in it is Gavin, currently, who is not even going to be running the race. So
hey, I'll be in there eventually.
We'll see about that. This might go all night.
12-hour broadcast. Let's go.
Yeah, it's been cooler today. I don't know if for you as well, Richard. I would assume it was a cool day today. It was like 75 degrees was our high.
It's hot and muggy down here still. Oh. After a hurricane, it's not as hot as it could have been.
Yeah.
So we had that tropical storm pull through. Luckily, where we live, we got just a whole bunch of rain. So our yard is just really damp and really soaked. But we have a whole bunch of surrounding areas around us where all of the roads to that town are completely closed. There's a couple of neighborhoods that are being mandatory evacuated right now because the Ogeechee River is supposed to hit, I think, 21 feet over normal.
Can you spell that for me?
Ogeechee, Ogeechee.
Oh man, impressive.
So it's supposed to be 20 or 21 feet over its normal height. So they're evacuating people around that river area, telling them to get the heck out. So,
jeez.
And it's supposed to hit the 21 feet over normal tomorrow, I think. So it's still rising, and we're done raining right now.
Gotcha. Well, hey, good thing it wasn't as bad as it could have been. I know I got some family out there, and they were a little concerned with it as well, and it turned out to miss as bad as they had anticipated.
Yeah, it was just a lot of rain. A lot of people said there was a bit of wind, but it dumped a ton of rain down, and that's about all it happened. So I know other places had tornadoes, but nothing bad.
Well, good deal. Glad that you are here and able to make it with us. But so last week, Tuesday, we were at Indy for the Rev Sim Shop 250. I know going into it, we didn't necessarily have high hopes of how it was going to run. We thought it was going to get really strung out and really boring a couple weeks back, and I think it was almost anything but that. It did get strung out at times, but it was still good racing in packs, especially within the top 10-ish area. It was really competitive, really hard to pass. There were a bunch of incidents early on, whether or not they were my fault or not, that's a whole different story. And then some incidents later on that a lot of drama, though. It was a very drama-filled race, but exciting at the same time. Obviously, we had our new broadcast team, Pit Stop TV, join us this week. Super thankful for them. They did a tremendous job, and that's what we got on the main screen here. If you haven't seen it, the replay of it, I highly recommend watching it. They did a great job commentating and keeping up with the storylines throughout the whole race. So we really appreciate that. But without further ado, we'll get right into our winner this week was Mason Hausman for his 4th win this season. So absolutely dominating effort so far by Mason. Very, very impressed with him this season, and he slowly is pulling away with the points lead for the regular season, that is. But so we have the winner, and we can pull up all of the results. So just a top 5 real quick. Mason Hausman first, Adam Buzzio second. Ever so close to his first win of the season, still chasing it each week. Feels like he's getting a little bit closer, but just short. Myself in 3rd, Dustin Stallings 4th, and Brendan Maddox 5th. So what were y'all's takeaways from this past week?
I hate flat tracks.
And Carl really does hate flat tracks. He just does not have good luck with them.
New Hampshire, Indianapolis, Richmond. I don't feel as flat, but it's still rough. Iowa, Iowa can be rough. The only thing is Martinsville. I'm okay at is it. I can survive.
Gateway.
I can survive Martinsville because we're not doing good. Gateway is definitely tough, especially
Phoenix.
3 and 4.
Let me keep going.
Phoenix, yep. Phoenix sucks for me. So this just kind of goes into the whole category. Hey, Coda, I enjoy.
Watkins
I'm just not very
Glen.
fast at.
Watkins Glen's not really flat.
Watkins-
It's
Still flat.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I mean, it's a road course. You're not going to
Yeah.
get a lot of banking at a
No.
road course unless you go to Sao Paulo. But anyway, it was it was a race, and it was definitely a frustrating race for me. Going down a lap by a couple of seconds because I needed to make myself a personal pit stop. And that essentially set up the second half of the race for me, and that was disappointing from there. So it's a good week to forget for me.
Yeah, he was trying to be what is it, Crazed Blawford?
Who's that?
Who's that? The people that get the joke know who I'm talking about. Man, I don't know. I think it provided a lot better racing than a lot of people give Indianapolis for. I will say the IRL Brickyard 400 did not do justice just because it's a long race. We don't do a 400-mile race, so we are fighting for every position, every stage point at every point of that race that we can. So and there's a spin. So it provided a lot better racing. Honestly, a lot better racing than I expected as well. I mean, like you said, the top 10, there was consistent hard charging racing, like side to side racing. There was quite a bit of passing, even though passing was very difficult.
So difficult.
But being from Indiana, I love Indianapolis. I was really, really trying my hardest to win that race Tuesday because to win in your hometown. I mean, Nate Mason knows he won in Iowa and he loved it. So, but I mean, I had my issues mid-race. And, it is what it is. But overall, I think we put on a really good show for it being Indianapolis. And I hope everybody that actually tuned in and watched it really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it was incredibly difficult to pass. As you see, I was involved in this wreck, and then one more early on where I had lost a lap, and then once I got my lap back, it still just took forever to get through the field. I had to play a little bit of strategy to end up getting to the front. And Richard, like you said, you want to win at your home track, and I thought you had a chance there. You were very quick, and I mean, there was a point near the end of the race. I think it was the top 5 of us. I think Jared, me, you, Adam, and Mason. We kind of pulled away from the rest of the pack at once, and I really wish we went green just to see how far away we can get and really just battle it out between all of us. But unfortunately, I think you ran into a little couple of incidents there that ended up stalling out your day.
What put me back in the pack, though, and it's nothing of Adam's fault whatsoever. He just got tight and brushed the wall, and I was just way too close to him because I was trying to get the run to get by him on the front stretch. And him hitting the wall, like when you hit the wall, it just kills the momentum of the car, and I just happened to run into his rear end, and then it killed my momentum in exchange and just sent me to the middle of the field, and that's where the hornet's nest was, and it was not fun. It was not fun at that point.
That was a chaotic sequence of I was following right behind y'all when you came off of 4 and hit the wall, and I think I'd got to your outside and you like moved up a little bit, and I'm like, I'm there, please don't move up anymore, we're both getting the wall. And then I go past you, and then I'm watching in my mirror because I think Jamie was behind me. And Jamie had a good run on you, and he sent it low, and then you blocked a little late, so he got into your rear and got you loose, and then you couldn't enter 1 correctly because of all that, and then got into the wall out of 1, hit Patrick.
Yeah, and it didn't stop there.
and then a couple laps later, another incident happened. Maybe a lap or 2 later. Mm-hmm. You want to get into that?
Nope.
Do you want to get
settled.
into it?
It was
in
a
minute?
racing incident, and that's good. No.
All right. Well, fair enough.
It was a racing incident. We're leaving it at that.
Won't get into it anymore.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
Yeah. So Richard, like I said, shout out to you this race. You had a lot of speed. You ran really well. Unfortunately, you couldn't get the finish you wanted. But that stuck out in my head. And then also, Jamie Plord, another great run for him. I think he ended up finishing 6th. He got muscled out of the top 5 there on that final restart. But again, he is showing a lot more consistency, which what I was expecting out of him at the beginning of the season, and it hadn't been showed until recently. So I'm glad to see he is hitting his stride at this point in the season and really battling for that last playoff point, or last playoff spot. Excuse me. Let me pull that up real quick. So to take a look at our standings real quick. So Jamie has extended the gap over 11th, Evan Patinko. I think that is 13 points now. I think before going into it, it was like 4 or 6 points, something like that. So it is extended a little bit, and it's still tight. It's still, I'd say 11th through 14th are still within a fighting chance of that 10th spot. But the top 9 are pretty solidified. The positions might change slightly, but I'm pretty confident that those top 9 are safe.
Yeah, I mean the top 9, at least the top 5, 100% they're safe. They're good to go. 6th on back. I mean Jamie Plord right now, pretty much is the only one, like you said, out of the top 10 that's questionable. I guess you could say it's going to be one heck of a race to watch between Jamie Plord and Evan Patinko. I mean, depending on how Matthew Erickson and Richard Smith and Dakota Bly, Dakota Bly, how they perform in the stages. If they can finish high in the stages above Evan Patinko and Jamie Plord, I mean they still have a reasonable shot to make it. That battle for 10th and that final championship spot's going to be one to watch for sure. Yeah,
I think the guys in 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th have an opportunity here with how we've talked about it before of how heavily weighted these stage points are. To do an alternate strategy, they might not have the speed to win the race, but hey, take an alternate strategy, get 8 or 9 stage points in a stage. That can really impact you in the standings, especially for those drivers fighting for that bubble. A couple extra points here, a couple extra points there. We still have 4 weeks left until the chase. Eldora is a little bit different because the stage points will work based off heats as opposed to stage breaks.
That is still being. We might change that up because I just thought of this. I think we have to change that up now just because with the drop week, Eldora could be someone's accidental drop week.
That's a good point.
Because you can only, the way we had it set up last season was you can only get a max of 5 bonus points. that was it.
and which
So-
kind of devalues the race as a whole.
Right. So I still think we're still going to have the heats, just because it's just I want it to be a typical classic dirt race. So we're still going to have the heats, which I'm going to suggest only sets the starting position for the feature. It also gives some good, quick, fast, small lap count racing. And then for the feature, I might throw in to where we do either 15 or 20 laps for the stage. So either lap 20 and lap 40, and then run the last 60 out. Still need to discuss that. That is up in the air, or we could just be defaulting back to what we did last season. Unsure of yet, but that could potentially change.
It's only 100 laps. I know we'll get into it, but it's only
The feature is only 100 laps
Okay.
due to the fuel load.
Gotcha.
Because even at 100% load, I think you can only go like 135, 140 laps.
Okay.
And if we do what we did last season, whereas caution laps don't count,
Right.
which helps people that have damage to repair because they won't go laps down. Then
That's interesting.
You need, because you can't pit and take gas or tires at Eldora. You can go and repair damage. You can't take gas or tires. So we had to figure out a way to make it a good race still with a long run, but not have cars running out of gas because we didn't have enough gas.
Gotcha. Huh. All right. Well, yeah, we'll get into that in a moment here. Where was
Yeah,
I?
we're still talking
So-
about Indy.
So maybe the stage points won't be what I had just said, but yeah, stage points are very crucial this season. It's how you can get a lot of points since we only have 20 cars max usually a week at this current time. So it makes a real big difference at the end of the day. So those guys that are fighting for the bubble, Evan, Matthew, Richard, Dakota. I mean, I don't want to count Patrick out of it just because I know where he can be, but just hasn't been there. 91 points is a lot to ask over 4 races.
Well, and it's more than just the cutoff as well. I mean, granted, there's a lot of focus on that because that's, you want to get into the chase, have a shot at the championship. But also, we kind of hit on it last episode where you finish in the top 10 also gives you bonus points where you finish, kind of rewarding you in that situation. And there is 18 points separating 4th from 7. So there's 4 spots right there, only separated by 18 points. You go another 12 points or so, and there's Jared Hughes in 8th. There's 20 some points that separates 5 cars. Not only is the race to the cutoff going to be huge, but also in the mid pack. That I think that's going to be a lot of focus as well because of how close we are, and each position again in the standings when the chase starts is more points in your pocket. So I'm really focused on that battle as well as we go forward these next 4 races.
Yeah, that's a really good point because that is going to be very interesting. I'm pulling it up right now. So based where you finish off the regular season, if you finish first, you get 20 bonus points. Second, 15. Third, 10. Fourth, 5. Then fifth, 4. 3, 2, 1, and eighth. So all the way down to 8th, you get 1 bonus point for going into the chase. But yeah, those bonus points are crucial once you get into the chase because it's not the typical NASCAR format of win and you're on to the next round or just advance to the next round. It's those points stay with you that whole time and can play a big factor there in the championship. If we go into this and Mason starts up 20 points on 8th place or 9th place, and that doesn't even factor in any of his win bonuses or stage win bonuses even at that. Like that makes a big difference. But I guess before moving on, want to go meatball of the week? Richard, I'll let you start.
Oh boy.
Oh, yes, the thing about this one.
I do. I have to think about this one. Oh no. I don't know. But the majority of the race is a blur to me because I was like too focused on my trying to get back up through the field, and that was a nightmare in itself. If anything, Carl, your piss break. I'm gonna have to say your personal break you had to do in the pits. That took a little longer than you expected. I mean, you still finished really well. You recovered. Well, no, you didn't. You wrecked and quit. That's right. You wrecked and quit. I forgot about that. You did wreck and quit. So, so that's a double meatball on my reasoning. So,
Meatball.
now yeah, your restroom break there that kind of put you behind the 8 ball there and trying to recover from that, and then honestly just being angry didn't really help you either. You came out of the turn 4 wall and it slowed you down, and Willie got in the back of you, and you should have went down pit road. You probably wouldn't have hit pit wall.
You know, I'm gonna say something, and it's gonna be crazy. The car was not under control. I tried steering one way or the other, and I was on the brakes enough to where they were locking up, but not enough to show smoke. So I didn't really have a lot of steering, and I was kind of caught between, you know, if I spin the wrong way and turn the wrong way, I'm going back into the track. Versus if I turn left, I could hit the inside wall and my race is over anyway. So I just kind of let physics do its thing, and I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna hit the aperture or whatever they called it on the broadcast, and said,
I'd never heard that word before.
I'm gonna hit it, and I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna let physics deal with it. Now, if you're done with your meatball, Richard, this is gonna lead perfectly into my meatball. And my meatball of the week goes to the number 71 of Carl Pooler as well. Because, and Richard was right. I was angry. I don't like this track in the first place. I went a lap down because I missed a couple of seconds. It was seriously, I was on pit exit as they were passing me. So I had nowhere to go. I was like, well, there's my lap and everything. I finally got on the lead lap, and I was pushing hard, and I thought William was more damaged than he might have been. And so I thought, I could go around him, make a good run, and get away from him. And that wasn't the case. So I was getting frustrated. I was angry. I was, Indianapolis made a really stupid mistake. And on top of that, not only did I take myself out, I took William out. I took Dakota Bly out. I took Richard Smith out. I kind of caused the big one for Indianapolis. So yeah, I'm going to take my own meatball, and I do apologize for William Maddox, Dakota Bly, and Richard Smith II, because that was just bad on my part, and I should have had a little more awareness than that, and I didn't. So there's my meatball.
Carl was so loud his mic cut out.
Oh man!
In the race, that was.
I was so angry.
I think.
And then he just left. Like, didn't say bye or anything. You're just like gone. I'm like, oh.
Hey, there's always a race in the season.
Funny story.
Happens.
I thought I was muted at that time, and I wasn't. So I was like, well, this can't get any worse. So I just decided to exit.
I did that at Richmond. I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, don't even get me started on Richmond again. But
we're starting in Richmond again.
No.
I got a DQ.
But I think my meatball moment of the race is coming up this lap, if I'm not mistaken. It could be the next lap, but let me just check right here. It's not this car. Oh, that's not it. It is this lap, though. It is this lap.
Oh, it's at the end of this lap, isn't it?
No.
Did you cause the yellow here?
I did.
Yeah.
I think the yellow.
Yeah, that was a funny situation. There it was.
Oh, there it is.
What's going on?
I tried blocking Johnny, and it was a bad block, and I just kind of spun off his nose. But it was literally the exact same thing that happened at the practice race on Monday, where he tried blocking me, but I was already there, and he spun off my nose. I was like, well, I guess that's payback for Monday.
And no, this one, like, I went into this race driving way too aggressively. I was the cause for the first caution. I was the cause for this caution. The first one wasn't as bad because I was able to get out the throttle a little bit, but this one I was racing with Brendan side by side for several laps, and I had just tried everything I can just to get around, just barely, and I sent it a little too hard into too low, hit the curbing, and it just bobbled up just enough to where he was already there, pinching me down a little bit, and I had nowhere to go kind of thing after that. I just sent it too much, and blew my engine there. That's when I went a lap down, and had to come back from that. But man, I was a wrecking ball the first 25 laps of this race, and thankfully was able to keep it cool after that. But I hate giving myself the meatball just because I think it's a boring cop-out answer. Like, I want to give it to someone else. I really do, but I can't this week. I think Rev shared with us the stats for this season's race control, and I lead in total incidents, whether or not it's my fault or it's a racing incident. I'm involved, I think, in 11 incidents this season. So that's kind of how my season's gone. Yes, I have had some of my own doing, and I've had some of that are not my doing. And I think that's just why I'm driving in over my head, because I'm just frustrated every week of getting involved in stuff. But I'll give myself the meatball again.
You know, you do have the most incident points period at 120 throughout the season. Richard Smith II at 113, Evan Patinko at 112.
We ran a road course. Once a road course comes, I don't count it, because last year I had the most incident points in one race. I think I had 98 or something like that at Coda last season. Man. Just because I take an absurd line at most road courses where I go off track all the time.
Well, Coda's an anomaly anyway, because in order to race that track the way the Cup cars should race it, like, you're getting off tracks.
But give me Watkins Glen, I'm still getting 60 plus off tracks, on purpose. So I don't know, but yeah, no, I've been involved in way too much drama and incidents this season.
I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of shocked when it said that I had the most incidents caused. I was like, I'm sorry, what?
I believe it. Have you seen the driver of that
Richmond
56?
race again? Look at that!
Stop it! Jeez.
The 56 and the 2 are the biggest weapons this season so far, so we need to do something about that.
We gotta do something about that.
I think it's a good thing. That just shows that Rev really does not have a bias, because if he had a bias, that would not be the case.
Well, he does have a bias. He doesn't like his admin team.
Well, also look at that. The top two teams in the standings are also have the top two drivers with incidents. So it's not like you guys aren't going out and trying to get these positions. Whatever position you guys are getting, whatever points you're getting, you were trying to earn one way or the other. Yeah. So there's also that.
That's very true. And Adam shared, I'm glad he ended up doing this, because I was going to put something together. But he put up some mid-season stats for us. I just want to go over real quick. So we have our best average finish of Adam Buzzio himself, with an average finish of 3.3.
With no wins still.
With no wins still. Hey, I mean, if this was the old Winston Cup style standings, he would be fine.
Yeah, right.
Best average start, Mason Houseman with a 4.1. Lowest incident per start is Dakota Bleh with a 4.25 incidents per start.
Dakota, I'm sorry, we're just having fun with your name. It's just
highest average running position, Mason and Adam are tied with a 3.8. Highest overall driver rating, this is a score that is created by Sim Racer Hub. I think it maxes out at either 125. I think it's 130 is actually the max for this metric. It is Mason Houseman with a 123.6. Most total passes myself with 244, because I always get sent to the back for wrecking and then have to fight my way back. And most total quality passes, are Adam with 147. I don't know how they determine quality passes, if that's green flag passes or what that really means. I really don't know what they use to determine that metric, but yeah.
I think that's pass without contact. Now, I do want to say I'm second with 146. So there needs to be context with some of these stats.
I'm just reading what was posted to me. I'm not pulling up anything else. My screens are too full.
Oh Jesus! You need like 7 monitors.
I literally have something on every screen, and I still don't have the stats up because it don't fit.
Oh my gosh!
Well, that's why I'm here. That's the only reason I'm kept around.
Yeah, you got our professional statistician over here. He has like notebooks of this shit. He's like, let me turn to page 75.
Right now we're on page 1 of 1 for drivers. Now, if you want me to get tracks and records, we can go further.
But yeah, a little interesting mid-season stats. I'm not too surprised by any of these stats. Dakota Bleh being the lowest incidents per start kind of surprised me, but not necessarily that it is Dakota, but I never really even thought about who is running the cleanest, I guess, or just not involved in incidents. I really thought Mason might be up there, because it seems
Dakota's a very, very polite driver. you don't see him with a lot of speed most weeks. He got really excited about a top 10 a few weeks ago. I think that was New Hampshire, and he thought he was really excited about that. But Dakota is one of those guys where he's super polite. He knows he's going to get past one way or the other, so he kind of lets you go for the most part. Doesn't really fight you, and when he's about a lap down or anything like that, he just doesn't put up a fight, lets you go, and he's definitely a respectful driver. And I, excuse me, I would be very curious to see what he can do if he, maybe got some practice in, got some speed in that car, and see what could happen. But I really like the way Dakota drives.
Yes, he is very polite the way he drives. A lot of times when I see him, especially after restart, usually he'll just get out of the way and let people fight it out and let stuff happen in front of him. So that is a good point, and I definitely appreciate it at times.
Yeah, Dakota's definitely here to have a good time and for a long time, because he's not wrecking out. He's just kind of making the passes where he can. So, but when he knows he's not fast enough, he just kind of gets out of your way. He's like, all right, you go. I know you're fast. Get out of here.
I mean, that's why he's here, and he has a chance to make the top 10, because he is there at the end and getting these finishes. So it definitely
he has a clean car until the 71 hits the pit wall and comes out back into the track. So let's give him that credit.
Yeah, that incidents per start would be lower without Carl being in the mix.
Exactly.
What were they calling that pit wall on the broadcast?
It was the
pit attenuator.
Attenuator, thank you. Yes.
Attenuator. I was like, what in the world?
And it's funny. It is funny because they watched Mason's wreck. I think they watched another wreck, maybe of yours, Steven. Like, oh, no one hit the attenuator. No one hit the attenuator. And here come I at like lap 67. Boom! Head on into that attenuator. I feel like that's a part of the commentator curse where no one's hitting it, and you finally got that shot. And I do want to also another shout out to Pit Stop TV because they gave me about 5 different angles of how I could watch my error on the broadcast. So I definitely got to give them a shout out. That was fantastic coverage.
Yeah, they do a great job with the cautions, man. I watched one. They show probably 5 or 6 different angles of the replays of the wrecks and everything, and it's just like, dang, guys. But this was impressive, by the way. I can't believe I stayed off the wall and out of the cars.
I was actually talking to Steven about this save before the broadcast, Richard. I think that goes the save of the race right there, because that could have been so much worse, and all it cost you was a pair of tires. So that was fantastic.
And I didn't even take tires, and I still made my way up to the top 4 or 3 or whatever it was.
Amazing car
control.
Can
we talk about this battle right
track
there?
Awareness. Oh,
I know,
man.
Look, and that kind of goes to my frustration too. It's like,
you get the curve there?
If I had...
No, I just got loose. The car just wiggled, and I was able to get it turned left instead of right. It's just, that's all it was.
I did almost the exact same thing in the practice session before the race. I hit that bump on the apron area, and it shot me right back up the track, and I couldn't stop it like you did. I had gotten into the wall, just like whatever.
Yeah, that curb, man, it can help you a lot at Indy. But if you hit it wrong, or you're on it too long and hit that grass, you're in for a ride.
Yeah. Oh man.
And I think this was a brown pants moment for Adam also. Right in front of
man. Watch this right here. Oh!
And what's funny is it on my screen it said car contact with number 5, but right there it doesn't look like he hit me.
Nah, if he did, it's very
that
slight.
cushion of net code.
Yeah. Right.
And then Dakota's on board. You're just getting involved because of.
Please don't come up. Please don't come up. Please stop.
Right now, we've seen 3 different angles of that spin alone. Just the fantastic production of Pit Stop TV is just amazing. We really appreciate them coming on board with us the second half of the season.
Oh, Steven, you want to know why I was so pressed about trying to save the car there also? I didn't have a fast repair.
He already used his fast repair.
Wow. Well, I guess that explains why you had damage. Car. I saw you have a little front end damage at the end. I guess from when you had gotten into the wall and all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll say that.
Sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, it was a skill issue, was it not?
Not for me.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's an instigator in some events.
Well, if you're not going to cover that situation, I am going to cover that situation before we move on. I really don't even know how it started. I just know that
I know how it started.
there was a bump at some point.
Okay, I'll go over it.
Yeah, there we go. That
we
was my plan all
are.
along.
Of course it was. Now I had a run coming on run on Brendan down the front stretch, and I was going to side draft him a little bit to get around him, and he kept pushing me down on the track, and we touched, his quarter panel on my bumper, which was not a big deal, but I entered the turn a little lower than I was hoping, and my car got really tight. Like it just wanted to push up. Turn 1 was a menace for me all race, which was opposite of the practice race because I felt it was turn 3 in the practice race.
I agree. It drove completely different.
Yeah, turn 1 was wild this during the race, and I got really tight and pushed up the track, and I kind of leaned on his door. And it's not that I did it intentional, like I was even like on the brake and on the gas trying to get the car to rotate to get away from him. Which kind of set him up to get loose on the high side, which he got back into my door, and then we just kind of doored each other, throughout the rest of the turn. And then he got loose coming out of the turn, and then if you watch the replay, it'll show you, but someone's hands was still turning left as my car was turning. So, but it is what it is. I mean, like I said, we talked about it. We just kind of chalked it up to that's just a racing deal. And that's kind of we're going to leave that at the moment.
Well, fair enough. I mean, Brendan has gotten into maybe not got into. He's been involved in incidents with several drivers the past couple of weeks, and it's caused a lot of drama. And I mean, when it all boils down to it, when the points matter the most, we'll see what happens then. I don't have any hard feelings from a couple of weeks ago personally. Like I hashed it all out with him and I, and
we just love the arrow tight jokes.
Yeah, I mean, man, I got arrow tight into him this past week. I'll tell you that, but it hurt me more than it hurt him. So
yeah, so I mean that's really all it was. We got I doored him once going into the turn, and then we just both kept dooring each other throughout the turn, and then I just got right hooked into the wall. So that's all it was. Like I said, we talked about it. Not a big deal.
Well, I mean, last couple of weeks with drivers that are still in the league. Sam. But no, I mean, yeah.
He's technically still labeled as a driver for the league.
Technically, he is still on the standings.
See, he's there. He's beating Gavin.
Hang the banner.
So,
but yeah, no, I'm curious to see how it's going to impact him with certain drivers when points are super critical in the chase and such like that. People are going to race him a little bit different when it really matters and all the chips are on the table. But yeah, so that really wraps up Indy for us. Another win by Mason, good win by him. My dogs are going crazy because I think it is their bedtime. They love getting their toothbrushes for bed.
That's fine. My wife just got home from her shopping adventure with her mom today.
Oh, Lord.
Shopping adventure and getting home at 9:45 p.m. Were they at the grocery store?
Every store imaginable for a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah, they went to like Home Goods. They went to the home store. They went to TJ Maxx, to Family Dollar. They went to Culver's for lunch.
Ooh.
All
The
over the
JJ
place
Watt
today,
meal.
man. What'd you say?
The JJ Watt meal? They just dropped that at Culver's.
No idea. I don't eat Culver's.
Oh, you're missing out. It's pretty good.
Culver's is
What's
actually
really
pretty
weird,
good.
okay, this is what's really weird. I don't talk about Culver's. I never go to Culver's. I never mention it. My wife texted me one time. She's like, hey, we're going to Culver's for lunch. I'm like, okay, cool. And then literally I open up Facebook and scroll like 2 finger swipes and then Culver's ad in Facebook. Like,
They're
you are
always watching.
Oh, yeah.
Always watching was out.
I don't know why that stuff is legal, dude. Like, that should not be a legal thing. But it is. I just thought it was weird.
It's kind of
We
cool.
all-
Think about it. The only privacy you have is in your own 4 walls without any kind of, internet connected speaker. All
You're not
right.
wrong.
I love my Alexa.
I love my Google Home so much more than I'd like to admit, but sometimes you got to be careful.
I don't like Google Home or Alexa or
Oh.
anything like that. We have a Google Home, but I don't care for it.
See,
No.
I have some lights on the schedule. I have my thermostat on the schedule. It has saved
Doorbell
me
camera.
hundreds of dollars. It's ridiculous.
So back to racing.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Into next
week is
Yes,
Eldora,
Eldora.
our dirt track. Richard, our past couple of dirt tracks have become classics, and second year in a row we're at Eldora, and this seems to be a baby of yours that you've kind of nurtured and developed. So what are we looking for this weekend?
Oh man, this next Tuesday, we last year we sponsored it. Simrap Market sponsored it, and appreciate them. This year, I took the sponsorship and I just kind of renamed this, and it's just going to be dubbed as the BRB Racing League's Dirt Classic from here on out. And I think it's just a great name for the race because it's not something we do racing NASCAR does at all anymore. But like going back to dirt track racing is kind of where a lot of NASCAR drivers, have gotten a lot of their skill from, or a lot of their experience from. So it's a really fun thing to kind of change it up because you have dirt racers like Jared and me, and if I'm not mistaken, I heard Evan Patinko's got some dirt experience as well.
He did do good last season.
So so we've got some dirt drivers in the league. I mean, it's just another thing to kind of change it up a little bit because we have road course races, and we know there's some people that are good at them, and there's some people that just aren't good at them. So, I mean, some of the people that aren't good at road courses are actually really good at ovals. So it's just kind of another thing to throw out there to kind of, I don't know, change things up, make it exciting. But now it's going to be your typical Saturday night dirt track race, so it's going to be a nighttime race. Regular qualifying, you're going to have 2 laps, set your fastest lap. After qualifying, we will have 2 heats like a typical dirt track race would have. The heats, as of right now, will provide bonus points for the stage points unless we decide to change it. I need to talk with the admin some more about that. But aside from the points, the heat races are just going to be to set the field for the feature. They're both going to be 25 laps long. It's going to be just a nice quick race for us to kind of give a nice little taste of what the racing is for the 100-lap feature race, where it's all for nothing, like all or nothing. Like it's go out there, have fun, get dirty, and tear the cars up, boys. Let's have a good time. Not literally tear the cars up. Don't wreck people on purpose. But unless you're like Carl and seesaw the wheel like this and wreck between both walls.
Hey, double points if you're a teammate, all right?
Double points if you're a teammate. What are we playing? What's the death race now? Or it's just like
at a dirt track.
5 points for the wall, 7 points for the competitor, 10 points for your teammates.
I might win the race if that's the case.
But we're using the setup from Conti, Team Conti again. So big shout out to Conti Motors or Team Conti for them last season putting together a really good stable setup. It is going to be another hard to pass track. It's going to take a lot of skill, honestly, to be able to pass somebody because the slide jobs are not the easiest to do in these cars. So. But who knows? Maybe next season we either don't do a dirt race, or if we do, maybe we can change it up and go to a different track. Because it'd be nice to try something different.
Wild West.
No, I said dirt oval track.
It is an oval. It has more turns, but it is an oval. Like at the end of the day,
not an oval.
It is like they're definitely. I wish I had a track map of it. It definitely is an oval with like 8 turns, but it's an oval.
But anyways, I'm excited.
Pentagon.
I've got to defend my title from last season, man. I got a back-to-back Dirt Classic champion. Let's do it. That's my goal. I want to win Eldora again.
You have a chance. I mean, I told the broadcast during my interview this past Tuesday to look out for you and to look out for Jared.
I did hear that. I did.
Yeah.
You and Adam both.
Oh, did Adam say that too?
I think Adam did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a road course, how it used to be back in the day of like, oh, we're going to a road course. Watch out for Gavin. Watch out for Mason. Like, or Gavin and then Blalix, Offie. But yeah, no, you and Jared are a little bit head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the field for the most part, from what I remember last season, in terms of speed. And Adam was right there for not really being a dirt driver. Got to give him
some more practice. I think he's going to be He's going to be up to running with us.
So, and again, Evan Patinko as well. He was running really well there last season. So, you might have a little bit more challenge this season, but it's definitely a race that I'm looking for you or Jared to win.
Now, I will say this. I did try to make this I put this up for a vote for a rule. It's not a rule, but I'm going to do this just out of trying to produce a good product for people to watch so it's not boring. I am going to suggest and please plead with all drivers for Eldora. If you have damage, try to get your damage repaired under caution. Please, in all of your effort, try to be out on the track before the green flag drops. Because the way that Eldora is set up, because it's not a NASCAR course, when the Cup cars try to leave the pit to go onto the course, it causes a yellow because you're going too slow. I don't want a caution fest. The broadcast will get bored if it's a caution fest. Our spectators get bored if it's a caution fest. Let's try to prevent that by not going on the track from pits during green flag racing. So try to get your repairs done and get out during yellow. I can't control what you do. You're not going to get penalized for it, but I'm just asking you for the love of everybody to do your best efforts to get out on track during caution.
And, it depends on how Eldora's going to play out. Of course, caution laps don't count. I don't know about the heats and everything. Obviously, we need to get some of the point situations figured out, but it's going to be very difficult to be like, hey, if there's only 7 cars in a heat and the top 5 get points in a good starting berth, then it's, there's not going to be an easy solution, because I know I'm going to ask for those repairs. I want those repairs.
Oh, yeah.
Because I can guarantee, give me 3 laps and my wheel's going to be off center. I can guarantee that. So it's going to be one of those balances to where and we keep hitting, and it seems like every episode this season we keep hitting on how vital stage points are. Like, I'm at this point almost more obsessed with stage points than actual finishing points, because it seems the stage points carry more weight going through. So it's going to be one of those situations. Let's look at Brandon Maddox, Evan Patinko, those kind of drivers that are on that cut line, on that bubble, and they're going to look for those points. I think there's going to be a little desperation with 4 races left to go in the chase.
Yeah, those stage points are incredibly crucial. But yeah, so Richard, can you give any advice to non-dirt drivers going into this week? Maybe not giving away too much, but how should we drive the car?
Do you want the actual advice or what I'm about to give you advice?
I mean, I'll take whatever you can give. I mean, I don't need your advice.
To give.
Turn right to go left.
Okay, thank you, Lightning.
No, it's throttle control. And I know you hear that a lot to any track you go to, but dirt is a whole nother animal when it comes to throttle control. I really wish I could give you more information on that, but it's literally just a feel. Yeah, again, like Jared said, less is more on the loud pedal. I mean, that's another good way to say it. So, easing into the gas is a lot better than just flooring it, because again, we don't have dirt tires on these cars. So you smash the gas on dirt, like on slick tires, it's just going to spin them. And when you spin tires, you're losing momentum. So easing into the throttle and just being really not aggressive, but like kind of all over the place with your throttle control, because it's all about feel. It's trying to keep that car basically sideways, because you're not driving that car normal.
Right.
And trying to keep that right rear of the car as close to the wall as possible. Even when the track slicks up, I mean, it's still going to be really hard, especially when it slicks up. But the inside is not the fastest way around the track, but it's about the only way you're going to make passes. And I can tell you now, slide jobs, go practice them. Because it can be done. It can be done, because Jared and I did about 2 laps of slide jobs to each other.
I remember that.
So it can be done, but it's not easy. So it's something you have to practice in these cars.
It's all about finding that grip, I feel. And if you can find that grip and maintain it on a consistent basis, lap after lap, you're going to be able to have a shot at the win.
grip is a very hard thing to.
That's the thing is you have to be on the edge of out of control, but at the same time find speed, keep it straight, make passes, be able to, do everything. Call me crazy, but dirt racing is to oval racing how endurance racing on road courses is to oval racing. There's so many different things you got to think about, so many different aspects of the car, of the track, of the grip level, of where you're at versus where you want to be. There's so many things that go into this that it makes it very, very difficult to be able to practice for. Richard, I know last season you practiced, 400 laps, you said? You and Jared both put in just astronomical numbers of practice. And,
when you love dirt track racing, you're going to do as much as you can. I think Jared even put 600 in, or close to. I know him and I put a ridiculous amount of laps in.
Exactly. And Jared is in the chat here at YouTube saying rip the lip. And if you're not certain what that means, is that's being on the edge of that cushion where some of that grip is, where you want that right rear tire to go. But if you go just an inch or two over that, you are definitely spinning out. So that's something that Jared and Richard have figured out. I have, in theory, I know about it. I know it exists. I know it's there. But in practice, I'm very, very non-successful in this. So
you can't put the knowledge to the function. That's what it is.
That is it. There are good teachers and there are good people that actually put it into practice. And I'm a good teacher, maybe. But I cannot put it into practice. So that's where Richard and Jared definitely rise above the rest here in the dirt.
And for those that are not dirt racers and you're confused of what we mean by the lip or the cushion, on the outside of the wall, just barely in front of the wall, there is a mound of dirt that builds up because you're kicking dirt out to the wall. And yes, iRacing does account for that. So, and I can tell you now, practice tonight is not going to be the same as practice Sunday or the race on Monday or the race on Tuesday, because that track being dirt, there's going to be different areas where the track gets divots in, or dirt is a whole different thing than asphalt, because asphalt doesn't change. The only thing that changes on it is your grip level, because either the track's either hot or there's rubber down or there's marbles. Dirt is different because the cars will rip up dirt basically, and there'll be bumps in places that weren't there 2 days ago. So it's definitely, like I said, it's a lot of throttle control in the feel of the car when it comes to that. But that cushion is on the outside of the wall. You'll feel it. It's a little mound of dirt that rides along the outside of the wall. And you'll be sitting there sliding, all of a sudden you'll feel that rear end kind of step up. That's the cushion. So be warned of that, because the car will catch and shoot you somewhere you don't want to go.
Man, that's not even a joke, because, you can feel it. And with the butt kicker and the wheel that I have a direct drive wheel, you can feel it. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm running it good. I'm getting good speed. And next thing you know, you go 2 inches too far to the right and you're around. All that mud, all those marbles get caught up in your tires, and next thing you know, you're on slicks on a dirt track. It feels like even worse than what it normally feels like. So it's so hard to manage. I honestly say I think dirt track racing, in a lot of aspects, is much more difficult than this asphalt racing that you see, because there's so many more variables that get into it. At least, some like track temperature, where the marbles are, where the rubber's laid. It's much more exaggerated on a dirt track than it is on an asphalt track.
I agree, and I just don't have that dirt background to really have the knowledge of any of it. So really just learning as we go. I remember because we had done that dirt race last year for the Simrap Market race, and soon after that, Jared was like, "Oh, we need to get y'all in more dirt races." So we were doing some dirt races here and there, and I'm like, I still don't understand it, and I haven't touched it ever since, really. So.
Oh no.
I mean, it takes me back to being a kid, and you go to the arcade, and there's these very arcadey racing games where you're drifting all the time. That's kind of what it is in my head. Obviously, it's nothing like that. It is so much harder. Nothing at all. But that's just my connection to it, and that's why I'm terrible at it. Just because it's something that just does not make sense to me.
Well, and Steven, I think on both of our sides, it's kind of also the flat track curse.
That too.
it kind of feels similar where you really have to use the rear end to steer the car. Too much throttle, you spin out. Not enough throttle, you get really tight, and you can't get your launch off. And I think we've seen it this year, especially. Richard, you've won at New Hampshire. You've had really good speed at Indianapolis, and you won at New Hampshire. You won Eldora last year. I think there's a very strong correlation between dirt track racing and your flat track racing, and those who haven't figured it out, and those who don't just really struggle, like myself, like Steven. And I think that's the kind of far sides of the spectrum on oval racing in general.
Yeah, I understand how to get the rear engaged and help the car turn on a banked track, a flat track. I know how to do it on a dirt track, but I think I don't know to what extent. I don't know how much I need to be yawed out, or I don't know how high I need to run the line. Don't even get me started with throwing slide jobs, because I'm going to be just taking out the person on my outside just because. So I don't see myself trying too many of those.
You just get narrow tight, that's all.
I'm getting narrow tight on a dirt track. I can't wait for that to happen.
I hope that's an excuse for somebody come Tuesday night, because it
will be now.
Okay.
Kids. Mine. That's mine.
No, you can't have it, because I was the one that was originally involved in the arrow tight incident.
Man.
Yeah, so we can go straight into predictions if y'all don't have anything else to discuss about the race.
Jared Hughes. He already has a win this
Carl
season.
Bossum decided to pick first.
I'm sorry. I wanted, I don't want that awkward pause. I did also want to say, thank you, Jared.
It's only awkward if you
Richard, whatever your name is. I appreciate that. But no, I think Jared also has a win this season, just like Richard. Jared also wants another win, and I know Richard. I think maybe Jared may feel that he stole that win from him last season. So I think Jared is a little more motivated. He has the ability, he has the skill. I think Jared may, and honestly, this will come to a last lap, turn 3-4 pass for the win, and it'll be Jared.
I'm going to agree with you, Carl. I am also going to pick Jared Hughes. Excuse me.
Love you, Richard.
It's not that I don't want to pick Richard, but he won it last year. I know how much this race. What? You can't do it 2 years in a row. I can't let you just win again.
Oh man.
No. You know what? I'm gonna pick Brendan Maddox. No, Jared Hughes. So I think he was really disappointed last season from not getting that win. And it kind of lit a fire in him to get a win. He got his asphalt win earlier this season, but I still think he had circled this dirt race on his calendar at the beginning of the season, and he has set his eyes on you, Richard, this whole season to dominate you at this dirt race, and he is ready to step up and take what is his. Recently, he also got a new wheel, pedals, and a rig, so I don't know if that's going to make him better. People always say getting new equipment doesn't make you faster. I think it's going to help Jared from what he was coming from, and that only gives him more of an advantage.
Well, I hate both of you.
Hate is a strong word, brother.
I'm glad, Carl, be glad that it's Eldora Tuesday, because the only place I'm going to see you is my rearview mirror.
Oh, that's exactly it. That's 100%
I love you as a teammate, buddy, but you know what? The only reason I was going to pick Jared,
pick yourself.
I wasn't going to pick myself, but you both picked Jared, so I'm going to say I'm picking myself. I'm here to both.
Do it.
I'm here to defend my title. I'm the one that wanted to bring the dirt tracks to our racing. I brought Eldora with, but before I even became an admin, but I fought to bring it back to season 2. Jared loved it and everything. We actually had a lot of people say they really enjoyed it, even if they didn't do well. But no, I got my first asphalt win also this season at New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. So I want my second win. I want to defend my title. I'm the Dirt King, and that's how it's going to be. Jared, I'm sorry, but it's not going to be no last lap pass. It's going to be, you know what? You didn't pick the inside like you should have, and you know what? That's your own tough toodles. Like, I'll pass you on the outside.
I really hope that the broadcast is watching this right now to hype this up, because I cannot wait to see this battle live. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
And I can't wait for Richard to finish 13th, and I have that little clip of him. I'm the dirt track king.
Yeah, that's going to be a TikTok.
I will definitely. If you come out and finish outside the top 10 somehow,
there's going to be like that sad music with that, like the phrase or whatever it says, like no, not even that. It's like what is that? Like sound clip or whatever.
I don't know, but
it's like
I'm going to find a way.
a girl talking in the background or something, and whatever.
I'm going to find a way to embarrass you for that. But, I mean, most likely that's not going to happen. We do know how talented you are in all seriousness in dirt, and you have a chance. And if a slide job goes wrong by the 2 car or the 71 car into you, no, it's not for content. No, it was truly on accident.
Sure.
Hey, I don't have enough talent to do anything on purpose at El Toro.
You said turn right to go left, turn left to go right.
Bristol, you hear this, right? He's ready to sabotage people. I'm kidding, by the way.
Oh,
that's wild.
Oh, that was harsh. Oh,
I'm kidding. Steven, no, but Steven's a great guy. He wouldn't do that.
No comments.
He's done.
No comments. Hey, I'm not worried because I know who I am as a person, and that's why I said I'm not going to sabotage anything.
See, Bristol Motor Speedway, this is why you need to hire Stephen Borbell, because he is very unbiased, very rational, 100%. And he can see things from an analytical perspective, and he does extremely well with all of his admin responsibilities. Hire Stephen Borbell.
and that was not a paid advertisement by Carl Pooler. That was a genuine
check
reaction.
Of zero. Check of zero.
But yeah, moving on.
Paid for by the Butt Kicker Cup Series.
Yeah, where do we go from here? Do we want to go into the Sundance Letdown?
Well, we have. Well, wait a minute.
No.
We have Richmond coming up in NASCAR Cup Series.
Okay.
Well, we can do that after Sundance.
We're still talking about league stuff.
Yeah.
Oh well. Hey, I'm just throwing stuff out there.
Carl, if you want to give me 2 minutes, get prepared. I'm going to be back with a bunch of questions for you.
Oh, I am ready. I love tests.
Give me a couple minutes, and I will be right back.
Wait. New questions or these the old questions?
That's good. You're going to find out.
Ooh, I'm excited. I can do this.
I'll be right back. Y'all continue.
So, okay, Richard, here's the thing. You absolutely love dirt racing. Okay. Your dad races the Trans Am 2 series. You're constantly asking for Trans Am 2. Get Trans Am out there. What is the connection between dirt racing and Trans Am?
What?
Exactly. Like
no, you must have missed my interview when I won the race last season. No, my dad. I grew up with my dad racing dirt. He used to race street stock series, and he was back-to-back champion at Paragon Speedway. He actually turned down an opportunity to race for the Wolfpack Modified series as a driver, like no expenses, just show up and race. And the only reason he turned it down is because he had us kids. He didn't know what he'd do with us when he had to travel for the races. So, little bummed that he turned that down, to be honest, because I would have been like, I'm going with you. But no, my dad grew up in dirt track racing. My dad dirt track raced for a good 10 years, I think. So, growing up around the dirt tracks, going to the dirt track races, I mean, it's always been, honestly, dirt track racing is way more entertaining to watch for the short, like, aggressive entertainment than any other racing series out there. I mean, they are, beating and banging off each other for the late model series. That is a normal thing. Like, that's what they always do. You see tore up cars, and that's just how it is when it comes to racing. Now, sprint cars is like your Indy cars. They're open wheel, don't touch, because you could be like Tony Stewart, which I just saw from 1992 in Salem, Indiana, where he got into a wreck in the USAC asphalt series, and he flipped through the fence and into the trees in his sprint car. So, but that was asphalt though. But I've seen quite a few wrecks that have flown cars into trees, into ponds. So no, I grew up around the dirt tracks. My dad used to race dirt track racing. But he has a TA2 car right now. He doesn't actually race in the Trans Am series. He actually races with the SVRA Category 10 group, which I don't know the specifics on it. It's multi-class racing. 10. Yeah, 10. What? Hi? Hello?
I always forget my camera's, inverse on the broadcast.
Okay. So, but he's actually told me before, like if he had a dirt track, or he actually would prefer dirt track racing, but he knows he'd be racing every weekend and constantly repairing his cars. So the TA2
I don't
car,
know.
at least, yes.
Well, let's just go back to the clip you shared to the league a couple of weeks ago with him winning a race in the rain against the Porsche, I think it was. I think that had to take it back to his dirt track days. Like, oh, just got to keep the rear end under me. That's all he had to do.
15 mile an hour, dude. But
hey,
no,
a win's a win. I don't care about that. That's the win.
He definitely said that he does prefer dirt track racing still. The TA2 is more expensive up front and everything, his TA2 car. But, he doesn't race every weekend. He's racing, this month, and he might take a month or two off. He might have 2 weekends in a row he goes to a race. But he definitely likes the dirt track racing a lot more. So being my dad in the dirt track racing, that's kind of where I get my dirt knowledge and dirt racing fan or fun from.
Well, good deal. I'm back. I'm sorry that I had been gone. And we are ready to do the Sundance Pizza sit down if we can continue.
Sundance Pizza sit down.
Beautiful. Perfect as the ad rolled, and it is gone now. But Carl Pooler. Last week we did Richard Wilsifer. Got to learn all about the wonderful Richard, the driver of the number 56. And this week we're going to learn about the wonderful as well, Carl Pooler from the same team, Limitless Esports. Carl, to get started, where are you from?
All right. I am. So when you say you're from, there's two halves of the story. My parents are both in the Air Force. I was born in Hickam Air Force Base in Hawaii.
That's awesome.
And so after I was born, my mom left the Air Force. My father soon departed the Air Force after that. Ended up in southern Colorado where my mom was born and raised. San Luis Valley, if you ever heard of it. Not a lot of people have, but it's actually a crazy kind of agricultural center where if you don't get potatoes from Utah, you get your potatoes from here.
Interesting.
We are at over 7,500 feet elevation, very rare air. In fact, we have a college called Adams State University, which produces a ton of NCAA track and field, especially for cross country and stuff like that.
That makes sense with that elevation.
Exactly. And believe it or not, Colorado Springs is about a 3-hour drive. That's where the Olympic Training Center is at. So it's a huge Colorado pride to be here. In fact, NORAD is in the same location, essentially. So really? It is very, very proud to be from Colorado. Even though there's not a lot of motorsports stuff going on here, I love to be from Colorado.
Yeah, but at least you get that Christmas time. Let's track Santa for the kids.
Hey, you know what? NORAD.com, man.
So you're still in southeast Colorado. Do you ever struggle with the altitude? I know one time I went out to the Rocky Mountains when I was a kid, and I got sick for 3 days because of the altitude. I had never felt anything like that before. I'm sure you don't really even notice anymore, but
it's actually kind of crazy. If you live here, you get used to it. Your body acclimates to the altitude. On a regular basis, we get Texans, Californians, Floridans that say, "Oh, I'm going to go up and hike this mountain."
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that we have 10Ks, we have 14K. Blanca Mountain an hour and a half drive away from me is a 14,000 footer. So people go up there, and there's, especially during the summer, there are regular. It's the Colorado Volunteer Search and Rescue missions where they go out and they fish these tourists out, and they're from California, they're from Texas, they're from Florida, and they don't take into account how much the altitude really affects them, and it's kind of a guilty pleasure to be like, hey, you have to be around here to get used to it, because a lot of people say, oh, I've been here for 24 hours, we're good to go, and a lot of the experts say you need about 3 days, 4 days to get your body used to the altitude, used to the air, and get up there. So it's fun to see. I play football up here. In fact, the highest place I play football is called Leadville, and they're right around tree line, and that is the highest high school stadium in the nation. And I play there, and it is super, super tough. Even so, I'm at 7,500. You go up to 11,000, 11,500. It is even much more difficult to play.
At that point, you're over 2 miles above sea level.
Exactly, and it is so difficult to do any kind of physical activity at that level, and it just goes to prove that there's a reason Colorado is special, and I wouldn't trade anything for it.
Richard's eyes got really big there for a minute. He looked very terrified.
I had to think about what you guys were talking about. All I heard was like 11,000. I'm like, what are we talking about? But I was going to interrupt because Carl's talking.
Potatoes.
Potatoes. I'll take 11,000 potatoes.
There you go, man. 99 cents a pound.
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
No.
Okay, Sam.
So, Carl, what do you do for your day job? What's your day-to-day look like besides sim racing?
Oh, man. So I do so much that it's very difficult to put me in a kind of category. I will say I'm an administrative assistant. I guess that's the best way to put it. I'm essentially, I do phone calls, dispatching inventory for a local security camera locksmith business. It's a lot of hands-on knowing, a lot of abstract computer technological nonsense that I have to deal with. So I feel like I'm put in a difficult position just because it's kind of managerial and the manager's kind of old school, so he doesn't understand all the advances. Like in the last, I don't know, year, I've had to learn 3 new ways to do one job. So it's one of those situations where it's on the cutting edge of technology that everyone's trying to say for convenience and peace of mind. And it's one of those situations where it's cool to be on that edge, but at the same time, we're in a situation where there's not, you can almost say if you come back to our location, we're 10, 15 years behind the timeline, or you're kind of in a time bubble. And it's a really frustrating situation to be in, but that's what I do for a regular day-to-day job.
Good deal. Do you enjoy it, though?
No. So
do you have a dream job? I guess I'll branch off to that, too.
So my dream job my dream job was I wanted to go for a race team, rally cross, NASCAR would have been great, Formula One. I went to Wyotech. I got it. Since there's not a technical degree for automotive technology, I got a certificate in automotive technology with an emphasis in motorsports chassis fabrication. And if I were to have gone to the East Coast, I probably could have had a job as some kind of racing department in one of those teams. Mm-hmm. In fact, I even applied for the 78 Furniture Row team here for Martin Truex Jr. when he was here. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of glad I didn't, because they went under 2 years after I applied.
Yeah. But hey, it still would have been a great time. You never know what connections you could have made.
Oh, it would have been amazing. But that's what I always wanted to do. And, I worked on Hyundais mostly coming out of Wyotech, doing all that stuff. And unfortunately, when you're young, they don't teach you how to take care of your body. So I actually ended up in, I I think 2015, 2016, 2 herniated discs that took almost 8 years to diagnose.
Ooh.
And I unfortunately can't work on cars. So I guess the short answer to your question is no, I don't enjoy it. I wish I was working on cars, but you got to do what your body can do.
That's very fair. But sorry, going on to the next one. And Richard, just FYI, these are the same questions that I asked you. I just needed an excuse to, one, get Carl on his toes, and two, I needed a refill.
That's completely fair.
But so Carl, I think Richard and I at least know this, but some others don't. If they can't read your hat, who is your favorite NASCAR driver?
They didn't
My
know
favorite.
try to apply for front row.
Yeah, that
exactly.
too.
Furniture row.
Front row.
Yeah. So my favorite driver is Martin Truex Jr. and that was actually started before he raced for Furniture Row. I actually really liked him driving the 56, I believe, for Michael Waltrip Racing. And that kind of comes to, Michael Waltrip got in my focus when he won the Daytona 500, where Dale Earnhardt Jr. passed away. And
I'm sorry. Yeah, whoa. Is this breaking news? Is this breaking news?
Dale Earnhardt Sr. Sorry.
Woo-hoo. I was like, wait a second. We've been listening to the ghost of Dale Jr. in his podcast. Like, what the hell?
All the way around. So no, I actually really, that's how I got focused on. My dad. I actually remember watching that race and just the awe that it inspired in me. Just like you didn't, because that was 2001. So I was like 11 years old. You don't know that you're watching history until you look back on it and you're like, oh man, that is history. But that kind of really solidified my like for Martin Truex Jr. because Martin Waltrip Racing wasn't the team that you go out and say, hey, they're going to win this. They're going to do this. They're going to get out there and say, hey, we're going to do this. No problem. No. And, Michael Waltrip Racing, all that stuff.
You called it Martin Waltrip Racing. Sorry. We're just...
You guys are killing me. You guys are absolutely killing me here.
Oh, it's all right. You don't do this for a living. It's okay. I'll give you a pass.
He went through that, and then, watching Kurt Busch go through, and I think Regan Smith go through Furniture Row Racing, it took me a long time to realize that, hey, Furniture Row Racing from Colorado, because I took a good, 8-7 year hiatus from NASCAR during that time because I just didn't find it entertaining, and I realized, hey, Martin Truex is driving Furniture Row. Furniture Row is driving out of Colorado. Then, of course, Regan Smith, Kurt Busch, and then next thing you know, you have Martin Truex Jr. in the 78 winning the Cup Series. A small one-car team winning the Cup Series, winning that Cup Championship is unheard of, especially during the stages, and that was the whole introduction of the stages and everything else. So it just made it very a huge affirmation of like, hey, I really like this driver. He's quiet. He likes to just race his race, do his thing. Obviously, I was gutted when he announced his retirement this season, but it's totally understandable. So, but yeah, my favorite racer active right now is Martin Truex. I'm struggling for a driver to root for next season, though.
Well, I know we talked about it last week or the week before. A bunch of young guys coming up. I'm sure you can latch on to one of them. And I don't know. I think Connor Zilic might be your kind of guy.
Ooh, I don't know. I like the underdog. I'm not gonna lie. I like rooting for the underdog, and when he wins, I think it means a little more. I'm rooting for Martin to win Richmond this week because as a retirement gift to himself, let's see, Jimmy Johnson didn't win a race in his retirement year. Jeff Gordon won, I think, one race.
To send him into the Final Four.
That's exactly it. But not a lot of Clint Boyer didn't win. Kevin Harvick, I think maybe won. No, I don't think Kevin Harvick won during his retirement season. So it's especially special for Martin Truex to win for me this season because one of the few racers to win a race during his retirement season.
that will be interesting. And I mean, hey, he's got a shot. I wouldn't call him necessarily an underdog. I mean, he's in top Toyota equipment each week, but I don't know.
Equipment, yes. Personnel, I'm going to call that into question.
No, he's fine. But I'm trying to look here. So how and when did you get into iRacing?
Okay. I've been thinking about this question since you asked it to Adam Buzzio in season 1. All right, because when we talked to Adam, he went through Gran Turismo and got into iRacing. Is like almost a play for play of my addiction to this hobby. My whole progress.
He's not wrong.
Exactly. No, this is 100% an addiction. There's no question about that. But no, so when I hurt my back in 2018, no, it was earlier than that, 2016. When I hurt my back, I was like, I need something to do. So I was trying to pick up part-time jobs here and there. It was a really difficult time for me personally, mentally, stuff like that, because I was a producer. I was making just a good load of money working for Hyundai doing that, but I hurt my body and it didn't work anymore. So I was looking for something. Gran Turismo has always been there. I've been through Gran Turismo through 1, you name it, all of them. I actually bought 7, I don't know, about a year ago, and I haven't put much time in it, but I have it. But Gran Turismo, I think 5 or 6 was out at the time, and they have the GT Academy where you can go out there, put some times down. You know, they have GT Sport Online, so you can do that. And that's what got me. And I started on a controller. I seriously had a controller, the joysticks, the buttons. I was doing that. When I moved back to Alamosa, because I was in Denver at the time, when I moved back to Alamosa here in Colorado, I kind of fell more in love with this. Like, I talked to the wives, like, you know what? I bet you I could do better with a better wheel, a better rig, stuff like that.
Start bargaining already.
Oh, I think I started on a T150, gear driven, 2-pedal set, and I had a 20-pound weight on a TV tray on a couch that I was trying to deal with. So I was like, you know what? I think I could do something with this. How about I upgrade a little bit and go from there? She let me get a T300, a T3PA pedal set with the clutch, did some modifications, actually improved, got better. And then that's when I started iRacing. Like, oh, you know what? There's this iRacing thing. That was right around COVID. COVID started, and then the pros started their whole thing with, we're going to do this iRacing series with some of the pros, some of the semi-pros, and get them all together. And it's funny because I think of one of the big races there was the Chicago Street Course, because that all started on iRacing software before they even put it on the track. So I was like, you know what? Exactly. And I was like, you know what? That's really interesting. I want to get into that. And then started the addiction. So 2021, I think I started, I want to say it was March or May 2021, I started iRacing, and I've been a racer. I've raced through a truck league. I've raced through cup leagues. I've done a road racing league. I've actually done some broadcasting with Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Zach Hall, Sam Dyer, Robert Moyer. In fact, that's how I met you guys here at the BRB Racing League. So it's really fun to see some of the relationships and associations you can make through just the virtual racing itself. So that's how I am where I am now.
Awesome. Yeah. I remember we were showing Jared some of the old Freaky Fast broadcasts, and he's like, "Is that Carl broadcasting? What?
Voice sounds familiar."
Yeah. And yeah, no. I was gonna go somewhere with that. Can't even think of it. Oh, it's really kind of crazy how much iRacing blew up because of COVID. NASCAR blew up a little bit at the time too, but iRacing took off. A large amount of drivers seem to have started around that time, whether or not they didn't know about it or they at least got to see how cool it was watching the NASCAR drivers do it. So,
and it goes to show also, like, iRacing is doing a lot of updates, like, all the time now. They're adding new content left and right consistently.
Yeah.
And I mean, anybody watching this, if you haven't checked out the most recent iRacing notes, go check them out, and you can see what's coming in the next big patch and everything they have planned coming soon. Like it's a lot. So they're doing a lot of stuff now, and it's basically thanks to that wonderful thing that we had to deal with a few years ago.
So Carl, I know you don't like flat tracks, you don't necessarily love dirt tracks, but what is your least favorite track and your favorite track to drive in iRacing?
I think we narrow this down to, is it road or oval?
Any.
I mean, that's totally up to you.
Because I mean, what did I say last week? I said GTP.
You gave some
and
interesting.
Yeah, I said I think I really
answers.
enjoyed driving the GTP and like a road course, like Watkins Glen or
I
something
think you
like
gave 2 road courses, if I'm being honest.
that. Glen and Daytona, probably.
So I'm going to throw out the worst course, in my opinion, is Phoenix. I don't understand it. I don't know why it's a championship race. I don't know why it's raced twice.
Weather.
I don't like Phoenix. I don't appreciate the product it brings out. I don't appreciate how you have to drive it to get spots and get positions. I'm not a fan of Phoenix. That's probably my least favorite out of everything. My favorite, though, is going to be Charlotte. I absolutely love Charlotte Motor Speedway. I love racing the 600. That's like the most enduring endurance race you can ever do. You're on there between 4 to 6 hours by yourself, 4 corners, 30 some drivers. I absolutely love the 600. I love Charlotte. I actually seem to have some decent speed there. It's either there or Las Vegas, because Las Vegas is the one and only NASCAR race I've actually physically been to. So I do say, oh, dude, trust me, man. I that's the only thing I say about the Rocky Mountains is there's no motorsports. It's terrible. In fact, the one drag strip that we have, Bendemeer Speedway, that we did the Mile High Nationals for NHRA, they closed that down this year. So the one part that I hate about the Rocky Mountains is there's not any motorsports, like anything worthwhile around here. So that's the only thing I will say about the Rocky Mountains. But other than that, yeah, I absolutely love Charlotte Motor Speedway. I always seem to have speed there. I think there was a practice race or a recruitment race before season 1 or season 2 where I was up there top 3 all night. I qualified pole. I did really well. So I absolutely love Charlotte Motor Speedway.
And if you look at the main screen right now, you'll see Carl Pooler.
And look at that.
Exploding the field.
That's exactly, and that's exactly what I apologize. And it's funny because I knew it was me and William involved. I didn't realize that Richard Smith and Dakota Blythe were involved at all. Like after that wreck, I logged out. I was done. I said, I'm done. I'm pissed off. I'm over it. And then watching this, look at this. Look at this coverage of my just absolute brain fart of a mistake here. Bouncing off the wall of turn 4, and then there's poor William, and we have nowhere to go.
Boom!
And boom!
Oh!
Oh, man.
The broadcast even said that they think that the impact from Richard Smith onto your car was harder than you hitting the attenuator.
And again, Pit Stop TV.
Oh, we get the
onboard
coverage on board.
We get the onboard with Carl Pooler unable to
almost had it.
Into the pit wall entrance.
Look at that.
If that pit wall wasn't there, you had it.
Destruction. But you know what's funny is I hate Indianapolis as a driver, but that's not the worst track. So that just goes to show I don't think we have Phoenix on for this season, and that makes me really happy. I'm glad Charlotte is the final race of this season because if I have an opportunity of the championship, it's going to be there.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to mention Vegas, I believe, as well. Vegas and Charlotte, 2 chase tracks for us this season. Good opportunities for you to get your first win. Not saying anything, but
I'm focused, laser focus on those 2 tracks.
Don't forget, Carl, in 2 more weeks, you have Chicagoland.
And okay,
which is your chance at $160.
Chicagoland's my third. Believe it or not, the only non-super speedway win that I have in any discipline on the NASCAR side is a truck win at Chicagoland. I absolutely love Chicagoland. So, FYI, it's on. If I can get through Indianapolis and Eldora, well, okay, Indianapolis I didn't get through unscathed, but if I can get through Eldora unscathed, I may have a shot at this.
Very true. All right, we're down to our final 2 questions. So you are the number 71 car. Is there a reason that you have the number 71?
It's actually, in my opinion, it's a funny story. So in where we're at, there's flag football, before middle school. Then once you hit middle school, you have actually contact football. And in the flag football, there's no numbers. You're on a team, and this is who you are. Okay. When I hit middle school, I wasn't aware of that fact. It's like, oh, what number do you want? It's like, well, I'm kind of lineman person. What's a good number? Oh, well, you have your range of like 60 to 90. And I just thought, well, lucky number 7, lucky number 11. Let's combine them. Let's make 71. And there we are. I'm in.
Wouldn't that be 711?
I know, right?
Well, I had.
What about 17? What about 17?
Well, 17 was for like receivers and running backs and stuff like that.
7 plus 11 would be 18.
I'm not adding them. I'm like flipping it.
No,
but yeah, 18 is a good option too. Then
I'm trying to combine them into 2 numbers. So I'm like, you know what? 71. I like 71. That's my position number. That's where I'm at. Cool, whatever. And that's what stuck. I've been 71 since I've been like 13 years old, and I'm coming up on 34. So, so far so good. The only time I haven't been 71 is I've had to be 58 in the WSSR most recent series. I think season 9, and it is super weird. But in fact, and I think if Sam is still listening to this, we were on. Either I think it was,
I believe, or Indianapolis.
No, it was Chicagoland, and I get wrecked on lap 2 because I'm so excited. I love Chicagoland. I get wrecked on lap 2, and Sam goes, "Oh, that's the number 58 that's going around," and that actually made me feel very proud because Sam knows I have a number. So much love, Sam. I appreciate that you know my preferred number.
I'm curious of what Sam's saying. You don't want to be the 71. Is there a 71 in WSSR?
There is, which is why he couldn't get it.
Exactly, and that's the Ed Shearer Jr., and he's having a rough season himself. So
you know what? Thank Gavin for like 3 or 4 of them.
That's exactly it.
Oh.
Gavin showed up and just totally destroyed the finishing order of that league. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, Gavin has wrecked the 71 like 3 times. Not on purpose. Like, it's obviously he just overdrove the car. Because it is a whole new skill level that Gavin is not used to. And he is...
That's what he gets for racing with us bums.
He's having fun. He's having fun, but like I can tell you now, in the middle of the races and stuff, like talking to him, he gets stressed, dude. Like he gets down on himself. It's like, dude, you're still doing good. Like just
he's like, oh man, it only qualified 8th. I'm like, dude, there's 36 of us showing up.
70, he's used to winning each race.
The 71 right now in that league, he's having a rough season. So so yeah, Carl, I'll be glad you're not 71, as Sam said.
I hate to say I miss having my number because Richard, there's an issue with my paints where I have the 58 pit board on my 71 car and the 71 pit board on my 58 car. Just saying.
I don't know how I messed that up. I really don't know how I messed that up.
Oh boy. Sounds like you need to hire a new painter.
Yeah, he does.
Find
someone that'll work for free.
That's the problem is when you say hire, that means I have to pay him, and I don't have to pay Richards.
All I'm gonna say is I offered to do paint for you last week. Never heard from you.
That's exactly it. Exactly
what? I am free. I offer free services. I never charge.
I'm going to start charging Mason, though.
Oh, there you go.
Bro's had 3 paint schemes this season already.
He has 4 wins in your scheme, Richard. You need to start charging him.
That's a good point.
You're not wrong. He's not getting money for those wins.
Well, that's true.
But I mean, at the end of the season, he will be getting money if he finishes up there.
Publicly sorry for the commentator curse last night.
Oh,
You're
well
forgiven,
deserved.
Sam.
Well deserved.
All right, last question for
yes,
Carl.
on to the last question. Obviously, it's my favorite question. Carl, you are on a long road trip. Stop at a gas station. You got to get one drink and one snack/food item. What are you picking for both?
Actually, you know what's hilarious about this opportunity is the wife and I are gonna head up north on a little bit of a road trip. We're going away for a weekend, and I've been thinking about this. And if we stop, it's going to be for the snack. It's going to be Combos Pizzeria style. If you don't know
Not this
Combos,
again.
they're a pretzel. They wrap around a cheese-filled, salt-flavored thing. I love the pizzeria style. And for the drink, I'm either getting a Red Bull watermelon or Red Bull
Ooh,
strawberry apricot, depending on what they have. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think a strawberry apricot.
those Red Bull watermelons are amazing.
They are just I can't get enough of them. I absolutely love those.
I'm not a Red Bull fan, but I had one of those before. When they came out at Sonic Drive-Ins, they had the watermelon Red Bull slush, and that was the first time I had it, and I was like, this is amazing. Where has this been all my life? And I started buying the watermelon Red Bulls. So that is a tremendous choice.
That.
Highly recommend them. The only reason I don't drink a Red Bull is just because it doesn't give me enough caffeine. It really doesn't. I stick to Ghost and I stick to some other things, but
My wife has been on an Alani new kick.
yeah,
lately.
Alani's fine.
Oh, jeez.
Alani gives me heart palpitations. Oof.
Oh, dude,
stuff.
I'm not gonna lie. I think it does to me also because there was, granted, I was on some medications for my health issues I was having, but like, I had one day I was just sitting here. I was watching like a race or something like that. I was just sitting here at my computer, just watching a race, and all of a sudden my Apple Watch goes off. It's like your heart rate's over 124 beats per minute. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I'm just sitting here.
Yeah, those are no joke. Same with the Celsiuses. I mean, back in the day, or I don't even know. I haven't. Is Bang still around? Bang Energy?
I haven't seen them.
I don't even know if they're still around, but I remember I had those when I had my first job out of college, and or whatever it was, and I had one every morning, and almost every week, like my blood pressure would spike, and like my face would turn red. I'd start sweating, and like these things are terrible. Like those were like 350 milligrams of caffeine per one, and it's like, oof.
Well, I'm seeing comments
Sorry.
from Sam. First of all, Combos is a great pick. Love it, Sam. I absolutely love Combos. But also, had to get off the Red Bull after having 2 per broadcast
Oh
for 2
my
years.
gosh.
Hey, Sam, I'm pretty sure when you have, 3, 4, 5 broadcasts a week, you almost need those. You are a very unique talent in the broadcast booth, and I'm not going to say you should cut down, but, you know, if it keeps you going, it keeps you going. So do what you do.
2 per broadcast is insane. And it reminds me of my freshman year in college, first finals week. We had, as freshmen, we had to get a meal plan at Oklahoma State, and it was, I don't know, like $1,700 for the semester you get. We didn't use it all, me and my roommate, and we had like a couple $100 left, and we had to use it before we went home for Christmas break and finals and all that stuff. So they had a sale in like the grocery store on campus, whatever it was, and you get a 24 pack of Red Bull. It was like $80, but like we're like, hey, we got nothing else to buy, like why not? We each split that and finished it in one night before studying for finals. Never recommend doing that.
What? See, I used to do Monster, and Monster, now that I'm old, Monster gives me extreme acid reflux. So I can't do Monster anymore, but right now, Red Bull seems to be where it's at, but I can't imagine splitting a 24-pack of Red Bull in one night.
Hey, they were good,
That's a hard pass for me, dog.
And it was the cranberry Red Bulls because it was around Christmas time. They were amazing, though. They were amazing.
Oh.
But
I love cranberry sauce, but it has to be done from actual cranberries, not the canned stuff. I will die on this hill. When we get closer to Thanksgiving, I swear to God, I will destroy you.
Hey, my favorite energy drinks actually are the powdered mixed drinks. And it's generally what the streamers use all the time, like Advanced GG and stuff like that, or G Fuel.
Like G Fuel?
Yeah, so Advanced GG I've really enjoyed. When I start getting streaming more, I'm hoping to be partnered with them or whatever. But if that's the case, man, I'm gonna sponsor the league with them.
Yeah.
But no, I actually prefer the powder drinks a lot more. They do have some really good cans as well when they do have them in stock. But I don't really get a lot of energy drinks at the stores. I mean, I'll do the Alani News now because my wife drinks them and they're just easy to grab, and they're actually healthy choice because they're like gluten free and stuff like that.
They're all gluten free. It's just that they market that's gluten free and the others don't. They're all the same.
No, don't ask me. I don't know. It's just my wife.
Ooh, there's Sam with Advanced GG are the goats of powdered gamer drinks.
They really are.
I honestly haven't tried them. Maybe I'll have to try them and see if I can get some better results rather than Red Bull.
Highly recommend Ghost. Can't recommend it enough. But
Back
everyone
when
has
Limitless
their
were
own.
actually sponsored.
Everyone has their own energy source.
Ooh.
Yeah, back when Limitless was actually
Y'all
partnered with
limits.
Advanced GG.
That's pretty sick.
So,
But we can move on from that. Sam, I know you had a question for Richard. Well, actually, first of all, Carl, thank you very much for answering these questions and being open with us. I do have to try combos. I've never tried them, and I know Richard feels some kind of way about them. I've never had them.
You've never had combos?
No.
Okay, Steven's fired.
I'm from
It's
a
over.
place where
Bro,
you
I'm
don't
gonna
eat
bring
combos.
you some at Darlington, okay?
Okay,
There you
it's
go.
fine.
They're
They're just not in my
combos
house.
are pretty
It's
good.
something that my wife is allergic to, and it's just
You know
not
what?
in the house.
Bring them the cream cheese and
That sounds amazing already.
salt ones because they are the sweet and salty, and there's
I
the
love
most
sweet and
amazing
salty.
things ever.
If I can find them.
Well, I'll also try to take a look at them and find them before then. But yes, thank you, Carl. Thank you for answering our questions. And it was wonderful getting to know you. Hope everyone enjoyed it. But yes, Sam, you had a question for Richard. It is a question for Richard after we're done with Sundance Sit Down. Richard, do you use the brake at Eldora?
Not a lot. The best way to get that car to turn on dirt is literally you kind of want to just yank the steering wheel to the left. Like, you want to get that car as sideways as you possibly can. That's what I do, Carl. I know you're looking at me weird, but
I tried it last year and I couldn't get it to work. I had to use the brake.
I don't. I mean, if I do, it's very minimal. Like
When
a
you
lot
say
of the time,
yank, sorry, go
like
ahead.
it's a quick.
Like
you got to jerk
90
it.
degrees.
Pretty much. Like, you've got to get that car to turn left as quick as possible. And then that's when your throttle control and kind of maintaining that steering wheel to the right kicks in. Because you can't just drive that, you can't drive dirt like a regular asphalt. So
So the
Barely
way I
turning the
figured
wheel.
it is
Yeah.
you go into the corner, you get off the throttle, you yank 90 degrees to the left and hold it there, wait till your car sticks, then you burp the throttle until you get some grip, and then find as much grip as you can through corner exit. That's the best I can describe it.
So we're going to rewind this a little bit, Carl. You know how you said there's great learners and great teachers? I'm not a teacher. I can't tell you what I can show you. Like, if you were here, I can show you what to do, but when you're trying to have me explain it, I'm like, I don't know, I just yank it left and then start turning right. Like, and then I use the throttle. Like, that's there you go. There's my learn. But no, sometimes I use the brake. If I can't get that car to rotate like I want it to, I might bump the brake real fast to help get that rear end to sling out. But I try not to because generally when I'm going down the straightaway, I'm not necessarily fully straight going down the straightaways at Eldora. There still is some sliding that I'm doing. But usually before the turns, I have my marks on the wall, and I'm not giving all my secrets, sorry. I have the marks on the wall or even a bump on the track that I remember, and that's when I kind of let off the gas, turn the car a little, just ever so slightly right, just to kind of get that rear end to start wiggling. Because once you get that rear end to start wiggling, it makes it a lot easier to slide the car. So it's like a quick small turn to the right, and then it's a yank to the left, and it kind of gets that car to sling around. And then that's when your throttle control kicks in, and that's where I can't even say you want to fully turn right to keep the car sideways. It's the best way to do it when you're turning in dirt. It's all about your throttle. Your steering wheel is basically to keep that car straight. And I say straight, you're still sideways in the turn, but you're keeping that steering wheel as straight as you possibly can, and you're using the throttle to kind of keep that rear end sliding, but not sliding too much. Like I said, it is an edge. It is the edge of sliding or spinning is what you're doing in a dirt race. But yeah, no. For your answer overall, no, I don't use a lot of brake or hardly at all when I'm racing at Eldora. From what I recall, I have to do some more practice, but I don't think I ever did.
One thing I've noticed about our explanations is they start with a simple question, and then the explanation is like 5+ minutes. And this is what I love. Is we're like, we know what we're feeling, we know what we're looking at, we know what we want, but we cannot describe it in an audio function. We can't, do any better than what we're doing in apps. That's the thing about dirt racing.
Is like, I can give the easy answer and say, no, I don't use the brakes. But I know someone's going to be like, why don't you then? It's like, okay, well, now I got to explain it. So let me explain why I don't use the brakes now. So I just get it out there so people understand, like, oh, he's not using the brakes? Well, how the heck is he doing that? Well, let me explain to you how I'm doing that now. So I'm trying to make for a good competition, okay?
That's fair enough. I mean, I'm not going to be competition for him, but, I appreciate the thought.
Awesome. Thank you for that insight, Richard. With that, we can go on to any NASCAR news. Obviously, we have Richmond this coming weekend, hopefully. I'm sure we'll have it in some capacity, but to what capacity, we don't know. The new option tires might not even be a thing. We might be on wet tires the whole time, for all we know.
Nope, no rain this weekend.
Oh, okay. Weatherman Wolfsfer.
Already looked. Richmond's got no rain for the weekend except for Friday evening.
All right, I know it was a concern. And the race is it Saturday night or is it Sunday night?
I think it's Saturday night.
It's Sunday.
It's
Sunday
Sunday
night?
night?
Like 5 or 6, then is it?
Stupid.
I know because I'm taking a trip out of town and I want to make sure I'm home for the race. I'm leading the fantasy standings right now, so I need to focus on that.
I haven't touched
that.
So
one thing I can lead
at. I completely forgot about it.
Oh, man.
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah.
I never started it because I don't do fantasy
It's
stuff.
hard to keep up with, man. It really is. But yeah, I know Richmond this week after the 2-week Olympic break, thankfully, gives us something to actually something to watch on the weekends. I mean, it's been kind of nice with my weekends being open. And
did you not watch the amazing race at Road America for IMSA last weekend?
No.
You need to start watching some of those. They're really awesome to watch.
If they're not wrecking, I'm not watching.
Oh, they're wrecking.
They're wrecking plenty.
They're wrecking quite a bit, actually.
They're wrecking plenty.
There was a massive wreck between 2 GTPs in one of the turns. It was, they wrecked. It's not.
Richard, you and I were talking about, I think it was the Mustang GT Challenge that they were wrecking through. I can't remember which turn, but man, there were been entire assemblies of wheels, suspensions, struts, brakes, everything. It wasn't just losing a wheel or something, but they were losing entire corners of cars. It's nuts. Oh, well, it's
the
wild.
6 and kind of deep. The 6 hours at the Glen when they're doing that, the Mustang Challenge there. One of the Mustangs actually locked throttle, like he couldn't brake going into one of the hairpin turns. And he drove full speed just straight into one of the walls. He was sideways, and it flipped the car a good 10 feet in the air and did a complete barrel roll.
Oh, my.
9.5 out of 10 landing. And it was amazing.
Yeah, and then the 12 hours of Sebring, they actually had a Cadillac GTP flip because he spun out and hit the tire barrier, and he flipped up on his roof, up on the wall.
And both of these drivers...
There's some massive wrecks in
both of these drivers walked away.
Yeah.
They walked to the emergency vehicles after these wrecks. It's absolutely spectacular.
Though I will say the GTP guy was probably wobbling because he was upside down for a good 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, man.
They had to figure out how to get that car turned up.
Because
the GTPs, they're prototypes, so they're a hybrid system. And they had to wait till the hybrid system was safe, aka turned off completely before they could even touch the car and flipped it. Because GTPs, the body is charged basically. So if anybody touches that car, they get electrocuted
Well,
No,
okay,
thank you.
so there's your change from GT4 to GTP. The GT4 though did land on his wheels and only had to walk out, and that was amazing.
That's the Mustang Challenge. That's not GT4.
Aren't they GT4s if they
They're
were to
just the Dark Horse
transition?
Mustang Challenge race car.
I stand
It
corrected.
is actually literally just a Dark Horse Mustang built for racing. Like, they actually build these cars on the Dark Horse Mustang assembly line, and they just literally have them marked race car, so it gets built slightly different.
Okay.
So they're not actually part of the GT4 series.
I stand corrected.
Yeah, I really don't know much about that world of racing. Not saying I don't care about it. It's just something I need the time to get into more.
Yeah, it definitely takes some time to get into. But, I mean, if you have a chance, even on YouTube, just go watch one of them or whatnot. The 24-hour ones can be a little tough because it is kind of hard to nail down where the wrecks are there.
Right.
Well, when you have 4 hours, the yellow flag due to rain at Le Mans.
Or you have 16 hours of red flag at Nürburgring.
Oof.
Yeah, they actually red flagged the race for a good 14 to 16 hours at Nürburgring for the GT3s. Actually, there's like 3 or 4 classes in that race, but it was red flagged due to fog and rain for a good 13 to 16 hours. It was nuts.
That is ridiculous.
So, but yeah, dude, I'm excited for Richmond this weekend. I'm glad. Like, there was a hell of a good race earlier in the year. It was a great race to watch. I don't care for racing it on the sim, but it's fun to watch.
You're not alone there. I can promise you that.
But I'm excited to see what the option tire does. I'm glad it's something NASCAR's exploring more, giving more strategy calls to the drivers. And NASCAR made a change for wet tires if that's going to be a concern for the race. Teams now have the option to put on rain or slick tires as they see fit. There's not going to be any more mandated pit stops. There's not going to be any more mandated, like, you have to run the wet tires still. NASCAR is now giving the teams that option to change the tires as they see fit.
And if you weren't here for New Hampshire on the NASCAR Cup Series, you'll see why that's so important, because NASCAR definitely micromanaged how the teams were going to change tires for that wet condition, for the dry condition. NASCAR pretty much mandated anything and everything that had to be done with tires. And I think we hit on it a couple episodes when actually we were on that episode where we're like, hey, this isn't the point of NASCAR. You got to give the teams that ability to make that decision. And here they are, Richmond. Not only now do they have the primary and optional tires, which I think the optional tires are softer, but if it does rain, if we do get wet weather, NASCAR's going to give the permission to these teams to say, hey, if you think it needs wet tires, put them on. If you don't think it needs wet tires, then okay, that's up to you. And that's the strategy. That's the team building. That's the whole idea of racing as we're getting into the modern era of especially road racing and stuff like that. It's becoming, that technology is becoming more readily accessible, and we're seeing that at Richmond, and I absolutely love it. I'm here for it, 100%.
Yeah, it definitely adds to that strategy element, and I'm glad that we can finally get to that. But it is just Richmond. I don't know, where does NASCAR go after that? After Richmond? Anyone know?
Daytona. No, not Daytona. I lied. That's 2 weeks.
I was about to be super excited.
I don't know. I don't have the schedule on me.
No worries.
All right, 5 seconds. Here we go.
Yeah,
1.
that's Carl's job.
2.
He's the statistician over here.
Statistician.
4. Okay, 10 seconds. This is, my apps are being slow. So we have Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington. That's the next 4 weeks.
Wait, what is it?
So we have
Michigan.
Richmond, Michigan, Daytona, and then Darlington. So we have Richmond, 3/4 of a mile. We have Michigan,
Michigan's a great time.
2 miles. We have Daytona, 2.5 mile super speedway, and then we go to Darlington, which is a 1 miler, I think.
I think it's 1 1/3. If I'm being specific.
So we have a a varied schedule of NASCAR Cup Series track coming up these next
Not as
couple
varied
weeks.
as the BRB Butt Kicker Cup Series schedule.
That is true. That is very true.
But yeah, well, predictions this week, Cup. Carl, I'll let you finish or start us off. Finish us off.
Damn.
And it's not because there's any real physical evidence, because it's kind of been all over the board. But Martin Truex needs a win. He's been fast at some of these tracks. He's been in and out of the points lead. I mean, these past 3 weeks, I think he's been out because of just the wins that have been accumulated by these other regulars. But I think even during last Richmond, because this is the second Richmond race this season, Martin was in there. He had that opportunity and had, if I remember correctly, either a pit call or a pit stop issue really mess up his race, which honestly, if you think about it, has been half of his season, and it really bugs me. I get it. He's retiring. You don't want to put any more resources in that team, but come on. He can get you a win. He can get you those points for an ownership championship. It really bothers me. So, yeah, I'm going to go for Martin Truex Jr. this week.
No surprises there. I already know who Richard's going to go with, too.
Who?
Kyle Busch. Go ahead, Rich.
How'd you know? I literally set it on my desk ready for this moment.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's a terrible choice just because he's had an abysmal year. It's been sad to see how well he did last year, his first year with RCR, and just to see the downfall of probably one of the best wheelmen in the series. Like he's a hell of a good driver. It's just he's not having a good season. And I mean, a few years ago he swept Richmond. He swept both races of the year. So I don't know. He's due for a break. And it's sad to see because like when he starts racing good, something happens, and then he sticks in the back, and something happens. It's just a lot of it hasn't necessarily been his doing overall. LaJoy, but but I mean, at the same time, you know, like we've mentioned many times before, like his focus has kind of shifted more to his son's racing than his own. So, he needs a break. I think Richmond, I think he has a good potential of getting it done. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch, even though I should go with Willie B, but I'm going with Kyle Busch.
Yeah, no shocker there. I'm gonna go.
Also, I'm hoping to get him to sign this car at Darlington. Just saying.
Good luck. More
Him and
power
Noah
to
Gragson.
you. Good luck. More power to you. I don't have. Actually, I do have. I have his Busch Series and his Cup rookie car now that I can get him to sign.
Who, Busch?
Yeah.
Nice.
But I'm going to go with Brad K. Carl is confused. I am also confused.
I'm not.
I don't know. Who knows what this option tire is going to bring out? If it has anything to do with tire saving ability, I think it leans towards veterans of the sport, and I could easily go with Denny Hamlin, Virginia boy himself. But I'd like to see Brad get another win at a short track. And if I'm not mistaken, Buescher won this race last season. So RFK, I don't know if that has any application towards this race, but RFK might have what it takes for this setup.
Who won Who won the spring race?
I really don't even remember. If I had to guess, it was Hendrick.
Larson?
That was my guess. Is Larson.
Larson, Willie B.
I don't think it was Willie B. Let's see real quick. I'll find that out for you. I'll be your Carl.
Yeah, you be my car. I was actually about to click Google Chrome.
It was Denny.
Oh, was Denny? Oh, it's right, because he took out Larson, didn't he, or something like that?
I don't even
Oh,
remember.
it was the restart. Larson
Oh, the
was
jumped
technically the person who was
restart.
Yeah. it was like everyone said that he jumped the restart, but the NASCAR was like, no, he didn't. And it's like, okay, well, it's a Toyota sponsored race, and he's in a Toyota. So.
Well, so is Truex.
Yeah, was it Truex that he
Yeah,
jumped
I think it was Truex.
I thought it was Larson. Oh, that's right, because Truex came up and was like tagging his car and stuff because he was not happy. So, but
yeah,
anyways,
I don't remember much.
But I don't know. I'm still holding out for Kyle Busch. I really do hope he's got something. Like
I mean, I would love to.
He needs a bone.
He does.
He needs a bone.
Because maybe something will fall his way this week, and Daytona has a good chance for him too. So
that's true. That's true.
I mean, honestly, Darlington, I'll give him a chance to. Like, it's lined up to where he has a chance. He's just gotta finish one of these races, you know.
Yeah, that's the key. He needs to finish, and he's not been doing that lately.
But that's all I've got for tonight.
I don't.
Go for it.
Just announced yesterday, Junior Motorsports will be filling a full-time driver in the number 88 in the Xfinity Series for 2025, and saw this coming. Connor Zilic, completely skipping the Truck Series, going straight to Xfinity, which is well-deserved. That kid, like, he's a phenom. He will be driving the 88 full-time for Junior Motorsports next year in the Xfinity Series, and that is going to be a kid to watch. If you guys don't watch the Xfinity Series normally, go watch it next season. Like, even if, like, I watched it this season because of SVG, like, watching him, like, start to develop. But I think Trackhouse helped Connor Zilic get into the position to get with Junior Motorsports, and I mean, this kid has won all 3 ARCA races he's been a part of this year. Won the 12 Hours of Sebring, won the 24 Hours of Daytona. I mean, he's just a phenom of a race car driver, and he is driving the MX-5 Mazda Cup also, and he's won almost every single one of those as well. He's a damn good driver, and I can't wait to see what he can do in NASCAR. I think he's going to be able to be a top contender and someone that some veterans are probably going to sweat over when he starts stepping up into a Cup Series car.
Oh, I mean, he's been brought up in the past couple of our episodes, Richard, where we're talking future stars, who's going to be the next big driver and everything. And now with the announcement of JRM saying, oh, he's going to skip the Truck Series and go straight to the Xfinity Series, is just a more kind of a stamp on his career trajectory, because we all know the Truck Series is one of those series where, yes, your entry, but you also have to be just overly aggressive, and it's an entirely different racing strategy, entirely different racing style in the Truck Series than the Cup and Xfinity Series. And him skipping the Truck Series, going to the Xfinity Series, I think that just speaks volumes of the talent that Dale Jr. has in this young man, and I'm excited to see it.
And I'll be going to the Daytona 500, so I'm going to try to get Xfinity tickets also to watch him race the Daytona 500. Or the...
You know what?
The Daytona 250.
Y'all on the East Coast can go to hell. Deal with it.
Oh, hey, you know, what's stopping you from just up and moving?
Or taking a flight on Spirit Airlines for $59.
Oh, a newborn daughter and a wife.
There's a reason it's called Spirit Airlines.
Frontier Airlines.
No, it's you know, this is what sucks about Colorado is I absolutely love motorsports, but there's nothing around here, and I'm just stuck with it. But yeah, Daytona's on my bucket list. Daytona 500. The Rolex 24 is one of those. There's a bunch of lists on my bucket list, and granted, I'm still young enough to visit them, but with new family changes, I will have to wait for those.
All right. Well, we'll definitely get you out here at some point. We'll catch a race.
Yes, sir.
Wherever it is on the East Coast you want to go, and then you can decide that you love it here and move out here.
Exactly.
The only way it's going to happen is if I get a job I absolutely love. Because I love where I live, not where I work. But if I love where I work and where I live is a compromise, then maybe there's a possibility there.
I mean, you just have to worry about hurricanes out here.
See, I don't have to worry about anything but drought up here.
Carl, if you like the mountains, I know a place for you.
You don't have mountains?
Are you crazy?
I'm sorry.
Okay, hold on. Steven, you have to understand where Carl lives.
I understand. His mountains are like freaking insane mountains, but like these are still mountains.
I honestly don't. In fact, I went to Biotech here in Wyoming. I didn't go anywhere different really for college and trade school. So it's you're gonna have to lure me out there with like a 250K a year deal and all these bonuses. That's the only thing that's getting me away from here.
That's
Straight
how
up.
much you make in Colorado is 250K. I need to move
No.
to Colorado.
Oh,
People out there
no.
make that?
No, that's not what I make. I'm just saying, if you want me
Holy
to move
cow, I was
from
about
Colorado,
to say, what the hell?
no, if you want me to move from Colorado, that's what you're gonna have to pay. The sentimental value, everything that rolls into this. Like, okay, straight up, I have both my in-laws and my parents within like a 5 meter radius, and with the
Oh, I
new
feel
kid
That's a
coming
good
on
thing.
the way,
Yeah.
no,
Oh,
with
in
the
that
new kid
scenario.
coming on the way, this is planned out. Okay, I'm gonna pawn off the kid on the grandparents and then say adios. We're gone for a minute. So
Fair.
there's peace of mind
Well,
there.
I mean, if you're that attached to Colorado, you can't hate on the East Coast for having all the tracks.
Exactly.
Then, like, you can't have both sides.
Oh, I can't, but I can want.
You still can't
You're
complain.
just complaining.
I mean, I've
All I
got
hear
dirt
is
tracks
complaining.
all over the place that I can go to. Plus,
I got
Road
Vegas,
Atlanta
I got
and Atlanta Motor
Phoenix,
Speed.
I got Iowa. If we keep going there, so
How far is
options
Iowa
are
from you?
opening.
10 hours?
Okay, I'm not gonna
We're gonna go
lie.
over
I'm
this
starting to
real quick.
look it up, so I
I
really
think
don't
Texas
know.
Motor Speedway is as close to me as Iowa is to you.
Hold up. I'm gonna go over this real fast with Carl. Homestead, Miami, 6 hours. Daytona, 3.5 hours. Darlington, 3 hours. Atlanta, 3 hours. Talladega, 4.5 hours. Dover, 7 hours. Charlotte, 4 hours. Like, oh no, Dover Delaware is probably like 10, 12
I was going to
hours,
say,
whatever.
Dover's only
Okay.
7 from you?
Okay,
But
If-
Bristol,
that's
Martinsville,
your
North
tracks,
Wilkesboro.
Martinsville, Bristol, North Wilkesboro.
okay. Find someone that's going to
Nashville,
pay me
sorry.
relocation fees, a signing bonus, and $25 an hour. I'll be there.
I can definitely find you that
$25 an
25 an
hour?
hour.
That's easy.
Yeah,
Signing bonus and moving bonus.
I can't promise
as well.
that.
There's probably quite a few jobs out there that'll do that.
But I will definitely consider it if that is involved.
All right,
Not
I'm
gonna
looking.
lie.
I'm looking for you. I'll find you the tallest mountain too out here.
I'm
There
sure
you
you can find
go.
a field service engineer job somewhere, what I work on, and
Oh,
They
dude.
probably-
I'm not even gonna lie. That's kind of a dream job because if I can get to actually get out of my
great to be able to sit at home and get paid to play video games.
well, not only that, but if I can get away from seeing the same four walls 4 days a week for 40 hours a week, that would be fantastic.
Richard, can you tell me what the company that you work for is called again?
Nope.
No, I asked. Okay, you can tell me off the podcast, then we'll discuss.
Nope, not saying that online.
That's a smart move right there.
Fair.
I'm not gonna lie.
Well, anything else, gentlemen? We're running a little long.
Yeah, we are. Nothing else besides, Chase Elliott now has Coca-Cola as his main sponsor since Hooters
Yeah.
backed out, and the car just looks
decent
like
car.
a Coca-Cola scheme.
Nothing wrong with it.
I mean, if you want to go into road racing, there's stuff there, but I think we want to avoid that right this
I
point.
know. I'm excited for Hertz Team Joda to be going to Cadillac racing next year. That'll be nice. But we'll save that for next week, Carl, because that is a whole another thing.
That's a
And
whole
it's-
other, like, 2 layers of
11:15
everything
in
involved.
the evening.
the East Coast time.
Oh, you East Coast people, get used to this mountain time. Deal with it.
Or you can move to the East Coast and get
East
on our
Coast
time.
is the time that the rest of the
No, I'm
nation
not gonna
runs
lie.
off
I
of for the
wake
most
up
part.
I almost wake up at 5 a.m. Mountain Time, so it's 7 a.m. there. So I think we're almost even.
Hey,
East
wake up
is the
before
beast,
me.
West is the trash. What?
California is its own thing. We'll just leave it at that.
That's
Well.
almost its own country.
It is.
As is Texas.
All right, you shut your mouth. Start talking trash on
Burn.
Texas, I'll start.
You're going to get that Texas accent on you now, man.
I just don't have any more energy to keep going.
Well, I had a
That's
good
what I
time tonight,
thought.
guys.
I had a great time.
We definitely
Yeah, buddy.
scored a lot tonight.
A little bit all over the place, but it's okay. That's what we do here.
Well, it's called entertainment.
I don't
They
know
don't
how
give us
entertaining it
Thing
was.
to do, you know.
Hey,
Go
they don't
off-
give us
go
a script.
off
We
track
just
here.
go off the rails if we want to.
They don't give us a
We're out
script,
of
and they don't
pocket
give
quite a
us
bit.
money.
That's true.
But all right, well, let's before we do our send off, our legendary send off.
Legendary.
Obviously, want to thank Butt Kicker, Leader in Haptics, Sundance Pizza, Ideal Lease, and Ascendant Trucks for sponsoring the BRB Racing League and the Butt Kicker Cup Series. We couldn't be here without y'all. Be sure to tune in next week to Pit Stop TV, YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, August 13th. For the Eldora Dirt Classic. Why are you laughing? I was reading the calendar, making sure I got my days right. I see you giggling. But we can make sure we tune in then. Watch the number 98, Jared Hughes, get a victory, his second victory this season. And we'll go on from there, and then you'll catch us next Thursday. That's unfortunate. You should just cut it off. But
My
Carl,
wife would kill me.
Carl, go ahead and get us closed out of here. Get me out of here.
I'm a scruffy nerf herder to her.
All right, Carrie Fisher. All right, buckle it up.
Buckle it up.
What up?
Or you'll
die.
Carl's fucking it up again.
I got better that time. Didn't go all the way.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us.